Hello and welcome to Celebrity Trends. If it's your first time, please hit the subscribe button and click on the bell for more amazing news on your favorite celebrities.
Foreign demanded a loathsome privilege and asks for forgiveness. Just imagine what this did to the poor late Queen. Prince Philip was already experiencing his terminal decline, and the late Queen already had enough sadness and anxiety in her life, and then came along Harry and his evil wife and the atrocious Oprah interview, and boy were they all armed sledgehammers. Now we have talked about this before many times actually, but this story only brings things into sharper focus, and even though it was too late for the Duke of Edinburgh, if William were in bids, then I'm sure that Her late Majesty was in much worse shape, and still Harry administered blow after blow to his grandmother and monarch, a 94-year-old woman. Harry and Meghan staged so many stunts when the late Queen passed away in the intermourning period and at the funeral, including Meghan trying to go to Balmoral to be by the Queen's side. Now reportedly there was a 2-hour argument between Harry and Meghan, and he ended up being so late that he had to take a separate flight to Scotland, and that was probably exactly why the plane holding Prince William and Prince Andrew and the Wessexes was about 40 or 50 minutes late in taking off. The late Queen ended up passing away while they were still in the air, and so they lost their chance to say a final goodbye. In addition, the statement that Meghan was going to Balmoral was given to the media, probably by Scooby-Doo, their mouthpiece, and then they tried to stage a solo walkabout outside Windsor to observe the flowers and greet mourners. With the American media now, I think it was CNN that contacted Buckingham Palace, and the Buckingham Palace alerted the King, while King Charles then asked Prince William to make a joint appearance with them. They were successful in this, but only after a 45-minute delay, where the new Prince of Wales was laying down the law to Meghan and Harry, and probably trying to make Meghan sober up too. But that's not all. They let Harry wear his uniform to the grandchildren's vigil, but he pitched a little fit when the cipher was not in uniform because he had to give up his military roles thanks to Maxit, and so he wasn't entitled to the cipher. And then it was released to the media that they were attending the reception for foreign dignitaries the night before the funeral. I don't believe for a second they were actually invited because they were not senior royals, but they decided to spin things to the media, so it looked like the royal family had withdrawn the invitation. And then another thing is they supposedly alerted, maybe by tax, one of their hired photographers to take a long lens photo of them as they were standing behind the King as he was waiting for the late Queen's coffin to be brought to Buckingham Palace. There was no other royal family member observed standing with or behind the King for a short moment or otherwise. When we combine those stunts with Meghan's smirk observed at least during the installment of the Queen's coffin for the public viewing at Westminster Hall, as well as that single tear dropping out of the left eye after the funeral, you can see how many problems they caused during this very tragic period. Okay, some of those stunts might have had an element of hearsay, but even if they were not 100% accurate, they stirred up more than enough chaos to really bother the royal family. And so today, of course, we do not understand how or why anybody in the royal family could or would forgive Harry. I mean, how they put up with him and that evil wife at the Queen's funeral, and then Harry at the Duke's, is beyond my understanding. It just shows what exceptional people the surviving members of the royal family really are. I mean, how forgiving, how patient are they? Now by comparison, as future heads of state, they leave nasty politicians in the mud. If a member of my family did everything that Harry has done, I'd probably hit him in the face. The fact is, I'm not a royal, and I'm still never going to forgive Harry. And why is that? Well, I have never gotten to live a privileged life. I couldn't finish medical school, in fact, because my family didn't have enough money to pay my way. I had to work and go to school since I was 18 years old, and eventually, I had to make a choice between school and work. I couldn't do both anymore, but Harry has had every single privilege imaginable. He could have taken advantage of so many incredible opportunities. He could have created a life of his very own. He could have been someone instead of just the spare, and I'm not talking about being a scientist. If he wasn't smart enough for that, there are so many other things that he could have chosen. He could have just been beloved by the people like his late mother was. He could have been an amazing philanthropist. I mean, that position and title could have been a great help to him, but it seems like when his mother passed away, he changed forever. He's not the first, and he's certainly not the last person who ever lost a mother at a young age, but everything changed when he met that nasty woman Meghan Markle, and she convinced him that it was his own family who killed his mother. She also convinced him that he was better than his older brother and that he deserved every single thing that William gets. I could never forgive Harry for becoming such a spiteful, bitter person. I mean, the damage that Meghan has done to him would be very difficult to undo. She is a predator, and Harry is a very weak person. I've known women like her before. I have seen how they spin their webs of lies, how they pretend to be the victim all the time, their little fake crocodile tears, and they pretend to be defenseless. Now, maybe it's not so much that I will not forgive Harry, but I would never ever trust him again. Harry is a prince, and he chose to marry Meghan Markle, a second-rate American actress. Meghan claimed that she really loved him. She told the Queen that she didn't want to continue with her acting career. Now the Queen did give her that option, and instead, she said she wanted to hit the ground running by Harry's side, and she wanted to help out with royal duties. Well, soon enough she came to understand that royal duties involve actual work, and she became more and more controversial and more difficult. She blamed the royal family for all kinds of stuff, all these imaginary slights, and when she didn't get her way, she ran away to the U.S. She dragged Harry with her, and they claimed they were going to live this quiet private life away from the Goya publicity, but that was never their intention, because if it was, why would Meghan have paid millions of dollars to PR companies to get her photo and her name in print in order to become, as she requested, the most famous person on the planet? She alone with Harry have, since they left, at every opportunity gone after the royal family and the people of the UK. She and Harry have told so many lies. Harry published a book of revelations, including that his penis was frostbitten and that he used his late mother's cream to make it better. I mean, how disgusting. Why did he think that was okay to share? But the royal family has not wavered. They have continued to ignore the two of them and done their best for the people of the UK in the Commonwealth. They haven't done anything wrong. Their stars are very much in the ascendant, and now they're more popular than ever. Meanwhile, Meghan and Harry's popularity has continued to plummet, and the British public doesn't want a thing to do with them. I mean, in fact, if either of them ever tries to come back to the UK as an active member of the royal family, they're going to have a big surprise. Immediately they would come to understand that nobody wants them there. They're never going to be forgiven for everything they've done, and that's how it should be done. Harry understood how things were done in his family, and he just allowed that nasty wife of his to be so disrespectful to his grandmother. I mean, just think about the way that she did that curtsy. It was so disgraceful. Meghan has to be the most rude, hateful, nasty person I have ever seen. The public eye, so no, they don't deserve forgiveness from anyone now. At the end of the day, members of the British royal family are still human. Their lives, and invariably they're going to make mistakes. That's what life is all about, and forgiveness is an important human quality. The British public is also human, and they live their lives occasionally suffering from mistakes or some kind of mishaps. It's such an absurd question. No member of the royal family has ever tried to purposely deceive or hinder the British public, so why in the world would they need forgiveness for just living their lives? Until, of course, Meghan Markle came along and deliberately tried to deceive and manipulate and extort the family and the public just for her own benefit. So forgiveness, of course, has its limits. At this point, most people would not even consider Meghan to be a member of the royal family. She was essentially just an unfortunate blib by a rogue prince who is hopefully eventually going to wake up and sign those divorce papers.
Thanks for watching. Till next time on Celebrity Trends.